Transportation. It's everyone's favorite way of getting somewhere else. But what kind of transportation is best? Well, that's a complicated and highly contentious question that humanity has been trying to answer for centuries, but the answer is trains. They're fast, cheap, high-capacity, energy-efficient, and any decently sized city that cares about its residents has some sort of metro system. I'm looking at you, most cities in America. But there's one metro line that stands out among the rest. The Al Mashair Al Mughadasa metro line in Saudi Arabia. Designed to transport 72,000 people in each direction per hour, it has a higher capacity than any other individual metro line in the entire world. That is, for the 1 week a year that it actually operates. Why only 1 week a year? Well, that's because this train was designed to solve one very unique logistical nightmare. To explain the problem, though, we need to talk about the city that this subway line serves, Mecca. You see, Mecca is the #1 holy city in the religion of Islam, just like Jerusalem is the #1 holy city in Judaism, and Green Bay is the #1 holy city in alcoholism. Every year, on the last month of the Islamic calendar, Muslims from around the world come to Mecca for a religious pyramid called the Hajj. Over 5 or 6 days, they travel between different sites in the religion to perform various religious activities like cutting their hair, stoning this pillar, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I don't really have time to get into, but I hear there's a great book on it by some guy named Muhammad. Now, at first, this influx of visitors doesn't really sound like it would be a huge problem. After all, Orlando survives a sacred pilgrimage of Disney adults every single day, but here, it all comes down to scale. Every practicing Muslim is obliged to participate in the Hajj at least once in their life, and that's nearly a quarter of the global population. If you have more than 4 people in your family, then at least one of them has to go. I'm sorry, that's just how statistics work. As a result, the city has to accommodate millions of visitors over the course of just a few days, every single year. Now, Mecca itself is fairly big, and it can support a sizable population of about 2 million people year-round. But during the Hajj, their population generally doubles or even nearly triples. Basically, imagine Philadelphia if for 1 week out of the year, Chicago came to visit. On one hand, they'd probably invent some horrible new kind of pizza, but on the other hand, people would almost certainly die. And sure enough, when the pilgrims enter Mecca, things can get pretty cozy. And by cozy, I mean incredibly dangerous. Setting aside the complications with housing, feeding, and providing medical services for these millions of visitors, trying to transport them between the various holy sites safely and efficiently is no easy task. Traditionally, the Hajj has been done on foot, but traveling in such dense groups has proven to be risky. Stampedes are unfortunately fairly common and usually result in hundreds, if not thousands, of deaths. For a long time, the only other option was taking a bus, but with tens of thousands of buses jamming up the roads, usually stuck in the sweltering heat for hours, it's not exactly the most tempting alternative to getting crushed to death. So, in March of 2010, Saudi Arabia began construction on the Mecca Mass Rail Transit System. This doesn't have an exact translation into English, but it's essentially a mass rail transit system in Mecca. Originally, it was supposed to feature 4 year-round metro lines that spanned the whole city, plus one separate line dedicated exclusively to the Hajj, but after the Saudis finished the Al Mashair line later that year, they kind of just forgot to build the rest. The Al Mashair line, also called the Hajj Metro, is still the only line in operation, and it runs for just 7 days a year during the Hajj. Now, I know I've made you nerds suffer through bad jokes and learning about other cultures, so I'll finally get to everyone's favorite part, the section where I explain some technical details. The Hajj Metro consists of a 4-line parallel loop that runs 11.2 miles or 18.2 kilometers between 9 different stations in the holy sites of Mecca, Arafat, Muzdalifah, and Mina. It runs 24 12-car trains per hour in each direction, each of which can carry 3,000 pilgrims. To put those numbers into perspective, this single metro line was able to replace about 50,000 buses, and to put that number into perspective, that's as many buses as it would take to replace the highest capacity metro line in the world. A ticket costs 250 rial, or about $66, except for the last day of the Hajj, when the price drops to 100 rial. But before you godless train geeks head to Saudi Arabia to check out the cool new train you learned about on YouTube, you probably should know that it's illegal for non-Muslims to enter Mecca at all. If you want a chance to be transported more efficiently than anywhere else on Earth, you're going to have to convert. If that sounds like a lot of crowds and lines and you'd rather just stay home, then good news. You don't need to waste your money on expensive, unhealthy takeout or waste time on grocery shopping to eat well. You can use HelloFresh. With them, you select the meals you want, then all the ingredients arrive at your door pre-portioned and ready to cook so you can make delicious, healthy home-cooked meals faster. For example, I made these tropical teriyaki pork bowls in 20-something minutes start to finish, and I didn't have to worry about grocery shopping, finding a recipe, or dealing with all the waste of having to buy more ingredients than you're actually going to use. I've genuinely used HelloFresh as a customer for over a year now, since before they sponsored my channels, and really value the way they help make dinner time quicker, simpler, and more interesting, since I would never have so much variety if I was planning meals by myself. So you can see why I use HelloFresh when you go to hellofresh.com/HAI14 and use code HAI14 or click the button on screen for up to 14 free meals plus 3 free gifts, and you'll be helping support HAI while you're at it.